So in this video, we will be reviewing fractions. So what do I mean whenever I say the word fractions? I want you to pause the video and I want you to turn and talk to somebody you are with about what the word fractions means. So, the word fractions means anything that is split into even parts. All right? For instance, if I have a square and I wanted to split my square into even parts. Let's look at this. And I use a dotted line to represent my two parts. So in my square, here's my square, and I have this part, I just put a dot, and then I have this part, I just put a dot. Are these two parts equal? Are these two parts the same? Is this square cut into equal parts? Is this part with this dot the same as this part with this dot? I would say no. If you look at this square, you can tell this square is thin and long. And this side of the square still somewhat looks like a square. All right, so we can look at these two parts of this whole object and tell this part is not the same as this part. So this square is not split into fractions. All right, so in this video, we are working on splitting shapes into even parts. So now I'm going to show you a picture of 3 different squares. And each square will be split different ways. Tell me what you notice about each square. So once again, the dotted line shows you how each whole object is split into parts. What do you notice? Pause the video, talk about what you notice. So first of all, first thing I notice is that each part is split into 2 parts, just like our last object. I see 1 part here, 2 parts here, 1 whole object. I see 1 part here, 2 parts here, 1 whole object. I see 1 part here, 2 part here, 1 whole object. So I notice that each whole square is split into 2 equal parts. When something is split into 2 equal parts, we know that it is split into half. If this right here was a cracker and I wanted to split my cracker with my best friend, if I had this part and my friend had the part that is not shaded in, would we both have the same part of the whole cracker? Think about that. If I have the blue shaded part and my best friend has the part that is not shaded, the white part, on this square right here, would that be fair? Do we have the same part? Yes, we do. This part is the same as this part. All right. So if you have something that is split into 2 equal parts, we know it is split into half. Right here, I have some pancakes. I love pancakes. Pancakes are my favorite breakfast food. So I'm going to erase the squares up at the top. I'm going to show you my pancakes. And I'm not going to be stingy with my pancakes, even though I do love pancakes. All right? I'm not going to be stingy with them. I'm going to split my pancakes with you. All right? Would it be fair if I gave you this part? This half of my pancake? And I ate this half of my pancake? Now I'm thinking I'm going to erase these, actually. Then I'm going to split these in half a different way, and you tell me. Now, if I split this pancake in half like this, would it be fair for you to have this part of the pancake and me to have this part of the pancake? This is my half, and this is your half. Would that be fair? Are these two equal parts? No. If you look closely, you can tell that this part of the pancake is not the same as this. It's not equal to this part of the pancake. These two are not equal parts. This is not a fraction. All right? So always remember that you want to have equal parts. And equal parts can be split different ways. All right? And remember, whenever you have two equal parts, you have two halves. If I wanted half of your sandwich, you would break it in half, and I would have one part, and you would have another part. That's two parts. Half of this circle is shaded blue. But half is not the only way we can divide things into equal parts. We can have 3 equal parts, we can have 4 equal parts, 5 equal parts, 6 equal parts. We can have objects split into so many different equal parts. So right here, I have a square, and I have 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts. So since I have 4 parts, it must be fractions, right? This must be split into fractions because there are 4 parts, right? Thumbs up? Well, if you said thumbs up, you need to really think about what fractions means. Yes, there are 4 parts here, but is each part the same? Is each part equal? Is this part the same as this part? Look at it closely. Is this part the same as this part? And are those parts the same as this part and this part? All the parts have to be the same. Do all those parts look the same? No, those are not 4 equal parts. But right here I have a square. Are all these parts the same? I have this part, this part, this part, this part. 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. Is this part the same as this part and this part and this part? Look closely. Yes. So if you notice this square, this is square 1 and this is square 2. Square 1 has 4 parts, but are all the parts the same? No. Square 2 has 4 parts, but are all the parts the same? Yes. Square 2 is cut into 4 equal parts. When an object is cut into 4 equal parts, it is cut into fourths. Okay? So this square number 2 is cut into 4 equal parts. I'm going to draw 2 more squares, and you tell me if you think these 2 squares are cut into 4 equal parts. And these are going to be squares 3 and squares 4. So let's count the parts. I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 parts here. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts there. So square 3 and square 4. Okay, so we counted 4 parts in both squares. Now, are the parts the same on both squares? So let's look at this square. And these parts all look the same. These parts all look like long rectangles. And each part looks like it takes up the same amount of space. Now let's look at the parts on square number 4. I see this part, and this part, and this part, and this part. Now, do these parts all look the same? No, they don't, right? So whenever you're deciding if if objects are cut into fractions, you need to think, do all these parts take up the same amount of space? Are all these parts equal? That takes up the whole object? Right? So it doesn't matter if it's cut into 2 parts or 3 parts or 4 parts or 5 parts, but you have to think, are all the parts the same? Because that's the important part. And if they are all the same, then you know, yes, my object is cut into fractions. If they're not all the same, then you know that they're not cut into fractions. All right? Work hard, try your best.